In our races, the first step to getting to the finish line is to not brake. And in the mountains, the most likely place we would brake is in the downhills. So today I'm going to go through my top 3 exercises to prevent injury. Always important when choosing exercises to think about the context and the overall plan in which they sit. There's no such thing as a good exercise or a bad exercise. It's just whether they are right for you as an individual in the context of your goals. I'm going to be rather selfishly sharing the exercises I do to help me with my goals, but I hope this helps you too. These 3 exercises are taken from 2 strength workouts I do each week. I have a whole video outlining the training plan I've written for myself, and I will link that in the description. But briefly, I split my training into prehab, which is where I protect my joints and connective tissues using bodyweight movement. I do raw strength training with heavy lifting, and I do plyometrics. I've taken one exercise from each of these sections, but there is a bonus exercise at the end which has to get an honorary mention. The context for these choices is that I'm training for a 100k mountain ultra, but I live somewhere flat. I've raced in these mountains before, but never this distance, so I need some extra strength this time. What I know about the terrain is that it is savage. Lots of uneven ground, very steep downhills, and lots of sections where I'll be taking big steps or hops down to a new level. This means that I really need to protect my tendons, particularly the quadricep tendons. First exercise is taken from my prehab stage. I do this as my warm-ups for both my strength training and my plyo days, and the exercise that best protects my knees is the Poliquin step. This is my favorite exercise for strengthening the quadricep muscles and tendons, specifically with the downhill mechanics in mind. If you struggle with these, just use body weight and place a finger on the wall for balance, but as soon as you can, do these freestanding and then add load. I use slant wedges that I bought from Amazon. I place them on a step, and your aim is to gently brush the heel below with control. When you can do that, add load. Aim to feel fatigued around the 10 rep mark. Next up, we have my favorite heavy strength exercise, the slant wedge squats. This is one of my favorite exercises, full stop. The wedges allow me to squat to full range while keeping my back straight and therefore safe. By going to full range, we're putting the lower part of the quad to full stretch, and the glute as well. This creates maximum eccentric load, and therefore it's going to build the sort of resilience we need throughout the entire muscle. I think there's a lot to be said for just having some raw strength as a runner, and this is my favorite exercise to go heavy on. I do a drop set, which is where I do some warm-up sets, getting to a working weight of my 8 rep max, and then I drop down from that weight while maxing out on each of the weights as I go. This means that just one working set really gets the most out of all my muscle fibers. And lastly, we have an exercise taken from my plyo day. Plyometrics are great for many things, but here what we care about is how they improve the strength of our connective tissues like the tendons and the ligaments. There are also neuromuscular benefits, meaning that you're going to build a better brain to body connection, and this will be particularly helpful when I'm really fatigued at the end of the race and I need to have control going down the hills. My favorite exercise from plyo is the plyometric Bulgarian split squat. Do this body weight, do a couple of warm-up reps to check your foot position feels right, and then explode up into a hop. To get the most out of this, try not to have too much ground contact time between reps. Personally, I feel like I want to have a slow transition between reps to reset, but I have to override this feeling and keep the bounce going quickly. Do as many reps as you can, but if you can get above 20 reps each side, then hold dumbbells to add load. I do 3 sets with a 90-second rest between each set. Now onto our honorary knee exercise, which is the tibialis anterior raise. This may seem strange at first because it's an ankle exercise, but it will make sense once you understand the mechanics. In downhill running, we are more likely to have a strong heel strike, and then our foot slams forwards and the forefoot ends up below the level of the heel. This creates a strong eccentric load through the muscles at the front of the shin, like the tibialis anterior. Having strengthened these muscles helps control the tibia, and the tibia makes up the lower portion of the knee. I do these tibia anterior raises in my warm-ups before other forms of strength training, and I lean back against a wall, walk my feet forwards to make it a bit tougher, and then just pull my feet all the way up to squeeze for a couple of seconds at the top, get a real burn in the fronts of the shins, and then take my feet all the way back down into full plantar flexion, so I'm getting a long stretch through the muscles as well. And of course, we have to say that the best thing to prepare ourselves for downhill running exists outside the gym, and that's downhill running. I live somewhere flat, so I have to travel a bit, and I go to a local nature reserve which has lots of steep little sections. Because they're small sections, I go fast down these hills, faster than I would in a race, and this helps build more resilience because I'm not doing long slogs down these hills. To see how these exercises sit in the context of the rest of my plan, have a watch of this video here, and until next time, happy training.